This satellite view shows the Strait of Malacca, a narrow waterway acting as the primary artery for global shipping. For Beijing, this is a massive liability. Up to 80% of China's trade and critical oil imports must travel through this tight corridor. Chinese leadership understands this dependency. To compensate, they've spent years aggressively expanding their footprint into the South China Sea, building a massive maritime buffer zone. That expansion translates to physical confrontations on the water. Chinese Coast Guard vessels routinely clash with neighboring fishing and military boats to enforce their claims. Southeast Asian nations are reading these actions as a direct threat to their own sovereignty. Needing a counterweight to Beijing's naval pressure, they are actively looking for new security partners. When the Indian Prime Minister entered Indonesian airspace, fighter jets were deployed to escort his plane, a specific military honor reserved for top-tier allies. The two countries are reviving a relationship that dates back to the 1950s, when leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru and Sukarno laid the groundwork for cooperation. India is moving away from a strictly defensive, border-focused military posture. They are actively projecting their hard power outward, deep into the Pacific. By welcoming a nuclear-armed neighbor with a massive military-industrial base into the region, Jakarta positions a major regional power directly on China's periphery. The centerpiece of this renewed alliance is a $200 million defense agreement. Indonesia is purchasing 2 batteries of the Indo-Russian BrahMos missile system, which includes 24 ready-to-fire supersonic cruise missiles. But the BrahMos is a joint venture. The true indicator of India's rising capabilities is Indonesia's decision to also purchase the Astra air-to-air missile system. The Astra is designed and manufactured entirely within India. Its inclusion proves that Indian defense contractors can now produce high-end indigenous aerospace technology that meets international military standards. For buyers like Indonesia, Western hardware often comes wrapped in complex political conditions. A sudden policy shift in Washington or Europe can mean immediate sanctions or cut off technical support. India presents a stable alternative without those diplomatic strings attached. By securing this contract, New Delhi proves it can successfully export advanced weaponry and compete directly as a reliable arms supplier on the global stage. Hardware is only half the strategy. India and Indonesia are also collaborating on physical infrastructure, specifically the joint development of the Sabang Port. Sabang sits on the extreme northern tip of Indonesia. Geographically, it forms the very edge of the opening to the Strait of Malacca. Look at how this map sets up a maritime pincer. India already projects power from its naval bases on the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, expanding southward. Now they have direct access to Sabang Port, projecting power northward. In the event of a regional conflict, these two overlapping spheres of control give the Indian Navy the exact positioning required to pinch the strait shut and halt Chinese commercial and energy traffic. This port development establishes the physical architecture for a highly effective naval blockade. These types of maritime agreements rely on political alignment at the highest level. In Jakarta, the current administration has been vocal about its admiration for Indian governance, with the president publicly stating he has modeled several of his own policies on those in New Delhi. That political alignment is reinforced by cultural initiatives. India is currently leading the restoration of Indonesia's Prambanan Temple, a 1,000-year-old UNESCO World Heritage Site, cementing a shared historical identity. Military hardware secures the border, but mutual trust and cultural investments ensure the alliance holds firm under geopolitical pressure. For decades, India spent billions importing its military equipment. Now it is exporting homegrown missile technology and building strategic ports on foreign soil. Previously, Asian nations facing pressure from Beijing had few options beyond requesting protection from the United States. Today, they can look directly across the Indian Ocean. By combining indigenous defense manufacturing with a physical presence at the mouth of the world's most vital shipping lane, India and Indonesia have established a new, independent center of gravity in the Indo-Pacific.